Hello, welcome to Inspiring Women with ADHD. I'm Renee Allen, the host of this podcast. Excited to be here. Have you ever heard about, or have you ever seen the filming of a show, a TV show, a game show, a movie, anything like that that gets produced out for the real world? I went to a game show once. This has nothing to do with ADHD, by the way. I went to a game show once long ago when we lived in Pasadena. You could just show up or something, get in line and be in the audience. And that was interesting. Like they'd tell you when to clap, they'd warm you up for clapping, they'd tell you when to shout and stuff like that. So that was interesting. I think it was like Pyramid or something. Wasn't a super exciting game, but it happened. And then years ago, I think you'd think that I would remember by now, but I don't. 12 years ago, 15, I don't know. I got to be in some Beachbody videos, exercise videos with Debbie Siebers as a background exerciser. And I was really blown away by how many camera people were around. Like, you would see when I did workouts on video with whatever instructor, there'd be 2 people in the background or 4 or something, and you do the workout, and you knew there was a camera person, you knew there might be a few other people, but there were, like, 20 people, 30 people all around. And I've heard that with movie sets and stuff, or Survivor. I've been watching Survivor. There are hundreds of people around, a doctor on staff and probably more than that, but just a lot of people. So it's just interesting that to even make this video or to come on here and do the audio, check in to make sure it's working. Looks like it's working. I should just be able to, it's a one man show. I should be able to just come on here and do it. But I come up with different ideas of how to do it or get it better with the production every time. And I've been in here for 2.5 hours rearranging things. But that's okay. It's okay. I'm just trying to absorb sound because this room has a hardwood floor. So I bought a rug. I put in other rugs. I've tried other things. I've read about sound absorption with towels and different kinds of boards and things like that. And yeah, there might be a towel or 2 around. I'm trying to do things to just not make it echoey for you, make it a better listening experience, not learning experience. But I do want it to be a better learning experience too. Because today I'm going to tell you some things about ADHD that I've been learning about, and I think it's pretty fascinating. So, let's come here to see how this all began. So, I started thinking about when we're just lost in thought and not fully present. And I've talked about this before where it's important to be present at times, especially when we're with other people, because we want to be able to give them our attention or soak in a memory. Or if you're visiting someone and you're thinking of the next thing that you need to be doing, or you're eating something and you're just eating it as fast as you can because you're so hungry or it tastes so good, you just keep thinking about the next bite instead of actually enjoying what you're doing. There's benefits to being present with people, with experiences, to not have your mind somewhere else. But there are times when our brains can seem like it's present, like you're thinking about what you need to be getting done or whatever task it is at hand. And that could even be in a store. You could be in TJ Maxx or something, and you want to buy a gift for somebody. And you come in with a purpose. You start going toward whatever aisle it is, or you have something in mind. And at some point, you find that your own thoughts are interfering with getting that done. Your own thoughts, your ideas, and it's not, let me try to describe what I'm thinking of. It's not an autopilot like, "Oh, I'm just going and getting this done. I'm in my own little world." But you're in your own little world, and it's not productive, it's not restful, and it's actually stirring things up in your brain. It's making it so you're getting anxious or stressed or you just feel like you're spinning in circles. And a lot of times, whether you are doing this with your work or at home and you have a lot of things to do and they all seem important, and you think, okay, today I need to get together all my returns, or I need to take this to the post office to mail this, or I really should clean up this area, or I need to decorate the Christmas tree, or whatever it is. You have all those things. And on that day, your hope is to get them all done. And, oh, yeah, maybe I should do some laundry. Whatever these things are, and everywhere you go, you have another idea of what you need to be doing. And so you go toward that and you go toward that. And there are times that you might go to one task and just focus on it and just get that done and hyper focus and maybe do more than you even intended to do. While you're decorating the tree, you're also cleaning everything around it and washing the windows and who knows what else. Sometimes that can happen. Other times, it's kind of like you're just spinning and you can't figure out where to land. So you do a little bit of this, and then your brain thinks, oh, but I should be over here. And then, oh, I should be over there. And oh, I should be over there. And yeah, you're paying attention to the present. You're noticing what needs to be done. Your brain isn't functioning consciously. It's just in that kind of automatic autopilot, whatever it is, mode. But it's not, it's not focused in any way. It's not a good way of functioning, and when you have ADHD, you have executive dysfunction, and it can be an indication of that dysfunction. And the way that I look at it is my surroundings, what I'm doing, what the room looks like, what the house looks like as a result of my process or lack of process, but I guess it is a process, even in a store that you go in and you think, I'm going to get this. And then you see a sign, or you see, not like a sign, like I've seen a sign that this is what I need to buy, more like, an actual physical sign. And you think, oh, yeah. And then you go over there and then you start thinking of new ideas. Of maybe instead of doing gift wrap this year, we'll do more bags and get more tags and get more, whatever it is, you have a new idea. And then you've given yourself a new task besides what you've gone in there to do, and you keep going deeper and deeper, but then you see something else and you get away from that. So that might not necessarily look like a mess in a store, but you haven't done anything in any sort of orderly way. And at the end, it's obvious. And you may have stressed yourself out so much, not stress like, oh no, how am I going to do this? But you just start noticing you're feeling more tense. Your brain's not working as well. You've been in the store for an hour plus and you plan to go in there for 20 minutes, you still haven't gone to the back of the store to go in and get what you need. And you just find that you, as some people say, you're getting in your own way. You're getting in the way of what you were wanting to do. And when I do this in a store, often I just think, okay, shut this down, whatever you're doing right now. Put these things away. Don't give yourself this task right now. Notice what's happening and let go of that. Let go of that. You can think about that more later, but for whatever reason, you've got lost into that. And at home, or if you're trying to get work done, whether you have work from home or work in an office or whatever your workplace is, sometimes you might find yourself not getting anything done, but a little bit of everything done, or making bigger messes because you're starting a little bit of everything. In my house, I often see, and this happened last week, I often see what my surroundings look like and what I've done with it. I might start out, and we have a pretty big dining table. I wouldn't say it's like dining table, like dining room table. It's in our kitchen. It's off to the side, but it's big. It's, I don't know, 12 foot or something. Whatever the biggest tablecloth is, 144 inches, whatever it is. That's what I need for that table. It has two extenders in it. And even though for me, I think it looks prettier without the extenders in it, it's the side of it. I don't know. It doesn't look as pretty. We need it like that because we live closer to our kids now. Kids, grandchildren come over enough that we're not going to separate the table, take those out and put them back. We're just going to keep it that way. And it's a nice landing place for my things when I come home. And it's a nice place to kind of like a workbench in a garage where you can look and uh, take stock in what you're doing. And I can start that morning without that being messy. And pretty soon I've got, oh, I need to mail this out. And I've got just this big scattered area. And have I prepared anything to mail out? Have I prepared my packages to return? And if you have a hard time making decisions and shop impulsively and shop a lot at somewhere like Amazon that makes it really easy to make returns, then you may have a lot of returns to make often. And that can cause stress and that can have a deadline. And some places have deadlines and you can't call up and get an extension and it costs you money. So a lot of these things could be going through your mind. Okay, I need to do this. I need to do this because last time I didn't. That ended up costing me money. Okay, but I need to do that. I need to, they just had open enrollment for health insurance. If you buy that on your own, oh yeah, there's that deadline. But then if I do that, I really need to make a phone call. And so you just keep going, boo, boo, boo. And it's like you're putting out fires, but you're really making a mess. You're putting out fires of like, here's an idea. I think I'll spend a little bit of time with it so I can feel like I'm working toward it or relieve that stress in my mind of I need to get this done. And you feel pretty scattered, but if you really look at your surroundings, it probably looks scattered. You probably make a bigger mess than where you began. And there are solutions to this. They're not always easy, but just taking one of those things and just setting up a system and doing it, because if you can get into a system that's a routine, it's so much more calming for your brain and you can get it done. And the other things, sometimes we don't want to wait, but we have to. We can't do it all at once, right? So, like with packages, I have my system. Yeah, I could go in every time I have a package and go in and do the return and have the QR code in my phone or print out the label and set that aside, like do it one at a time. But it works better for me to save some up and then do it as a system. Have the labels. Let's say I do print it out while I'm going to whatever Gap or something like that, one of these online stores. And you print out that label, you put it with the box, you just tape it on for now. And I even have, those really big bags that you can get at TJ Maxx or Marshall's Home Goods. They're 99 cents. They make such good organizers that you can put things in. So I can put the things I'm gonna return in those. And yesterday when I went to UPS, I had 2 of those full. But you can put those things in so later you're not looking through your closet or thinking, "Where did I put that? Where did I put that?" Especially if it's small. And you put that label there. A lot of times you don't need a label, you need a QR code. But if you're scattered and you go into the UPS store, Whole Foods, or wherever it is to make your return, and you're having to look on your phone, and maybe the Wi-Fi is not good, or maybe your cellular is not good, maybe there's a line, maybe you need glasses for your phone to see things and you can't see it as well. And so you start getting a headache or whatever it is. Then they're done that. Those situations are more stressful when there are people around, when you feel that pressure. So any system that you can come up with to make that easier. One things that I've done before is just make a screenshot of every one of those QR codes and have them in my photos and do that right before I leave. So they're easy to just swipe through. I've got all the QR codes in my photos. I don't have to keep looking for the return in Amazon or whatever other website might use QR codes. The other thing is just printing out the QR codes. And if you don't want to waste paper, you don't have to waste paper. You can come up with a system and maybe this would be more stressful for you. But I make a screenshot of the QR codes. I bring them into a Google Doc. I use 2 columns in the Google Doc. I can fit 5 or 6 QR codes. And I was making the screenshot big enough that I could see what it was at the top. Like if it was pair of shoes, I bought 3 pairs and wasn't sure which ones would fit my grandson. I need to return 2 of them. And I would show the picture of the Nikes or Adidas or whatever at the top, but it does take up a lot of room. So yesterday when I was doing this, I actually just typed in black Adidas, black shoes, QR code. Go a few spaces, it gave me more room. Then I print those out. then I cut it up. And see, and then I'm in a system that I enjoy because I've done this for a while. Whatever your system is, I'm in this flow. It's more calming for my brain because I'm not going around going what. I find the things that I need. I find the QR codes. I actually tape them onto the bag or the box, and another system thing. And if you're a little OCPD, obsessive compulsive, whether it's personality disorder or OCD or just obsessive compulsive in some way, you can make sure that you've got it there. It's not going to fall in the bag. You have your little system. And I use masking tape on the boxes that I'm returning so it doesn't rip off. It doesn't tear into the box because someone who gets that return is going to like that box to be in, as perfect shape as possible. But I get that little system, put them into my big bags from TJ Maxx, drive to UPS, and most of the time, I choose a time when it's not very busy. Yesterday, I knew it would be busy. We're getting closer to Christmas, and it was 5 o'clock, and I left my house. So I'm getting the traffic. Yeah. I knew that it could be bad, but I didn't know how bad. And it's a little UPS store, but yeah, the line went around, and I needed to be back home in about 45 minutes for a Zoom yoga class. So what do I do? Do I turn around and leave and go back home? I almost did, but I saw they had a self-serve machine where you could scan the QR code and do it on your own. I've seen it there before. I've used the one at the post office before to do my own postage. Never used it, but I thought this is my key because I already have all the QR codes. I ran into a few hitches, and I don't know if you do this with your ADHD, but sometimes you read something and like whatever the screen told me as I was doing this, and you see about 10 of the words or 5 or something, and you go confirm, even though there might be 50 words there. So that's what I did. At first, I scanned it. It showed my item and it said, "Do you have a bag?" They have those little clear bags if you've done a return like that they'll put it in. And I looked and there were some bags and I thought, "Oh, yeah, there's a bag." First bag I go to put it in wasn't big enough. And I said, "Do you have any bigger bags?" And they said, "Yeah, we're back here." And they handed me one. And I said, "I'll probably need 2 or 3, more, but no rush," because I had a lot of small things too. I had 10 items. And so I did 4 items pretty quickly. Scan, put it in the bag, put it across. And there were a couple things to confirm. Well, after about 4 items, I realized my brain picked up a few more than those 10 words. And the second time it said confirm, it said, "Have you been able to fit it in the bag, close it, and seal it with your label?" And I thought, "Oh, what label? What label?" So I looked and there was a label machine, but nothing was printing out. So I asked, thankfully, the machine's close enough to the employees that I said, "Is this supposed to be printing something out?" Meanwhile, a woman had walked in. She was the only person in the room that thought I could do that too. And she walked in behind me. And she was honestly breathing down my neck, just like, "I believe you have so many things." And I thought, you know what? If you were in line behind these 15 people, you'd have to wait too. So just be patient and wait. But I didn't say that to her. So I was trying, I thought, look, I've got a system. I didn't say anything to her. But so the employee came over and the printer was out of paper. And I said, "Am I going to have to start over?" Knowing that this woman was going to breathe harder if the answer was yes. And the employee said, "No, it should print out, the ones you've already done." So they printed out and I turned to her and said, "I'm just gonna set the labels to the side with these and put the labels on after, so it doesn't take as long for you," which I thought might present a little bit of gratitude or less breathing hard, but, and not breathing hard like a yoga, relaxing breathing hard, more like I could just sense her tension. And maybe as a yoga teacher, I do that more. I don't know, but I could sense her tension. So I kept going with it. And then she noticed that she went to grab a bag because she only had one item. And she went to grab a bag and realized hers wasn't big enough and asked the person actually while they were replacing the paper and asked, "Do you have any bigger bags?" And they said, "Yeah, but they're behind the counter." And then when the person finished the paper, she said, "Can you please get me that bag?" Wasn't even her turn yet. But the employee said, "Yeah, when I get a moment." And I thought, yeah, when she gets a moment, give her some time. And so I kept doing my thing. But one of my boxes came up and said I had put it into return to Whole Foods, which I never do, so it had to have been, just I clicked the wrong thing. I thought, "Oh, no, oh, no, no." So I skipped that one, did my 9 items, got my receipt, which was nice, and then moved over to do all the labels, and thankfully, she was the only other person there. She did her one thing, she was gone. Then I went to my phone. So here was my hitch where I was trying to have a system that worked. There was a little hitch. Well, there were a couple, not a bag big enough. I was learning a new process, but because I had a system already, I didn't have to use my phone to scan through. It was so much more calming. I had all eyes on me. I mean, obviously, I maybe I wasn't looking to see if everybody was watching me, but they were pretty bored, so they were sitting there, like, kinda like, "What's she doing? Oh, she's got a QR code." That was just what I thought people were doing. And then I had the whole foods thing, and I'm thinking, "Okay, yoga class in a little bit, and I need to pick something up at Walgreens." So, I went onto my phone without my glasses that I use for my phone. I don't usually wear them otherwise, but on my phone, I can't see it as well. Canceled the return, put it in again for that location of UPS, printed it out, and was done. And I don't even know if I'd stayed in line, maybe it would have been quicker. I didn't look to see who was in front of me when I walked in, but I got it done. And I was able to go to Walgreens and pick up my item. I was surprised because by then it was 30 minutes to be home and be ready to start my yoga on Zoom. And Walgreens wasn't that far, but I walked in. They had the giant, giant, giant Pikachu Squishmallow behind the photo booth. If you like Squishmallows, my grandson said he wanted the biggest kind, and it didn't have to be Pikachu. He gave me a few choices, but they were expensive, and Walgreens had it half off of all places, and I could just pick it up. But it was just so funny. It was behind this this counter of the printing machines for photos and stuff, and was just humongous. But I got it and made it home in time. 10 minutes to spare. So it was a success story, and it would not have been if I hadn't had made a little system, because there were multiple times in the past few weeks, maybe back to late October. No, probably early November. But there are quite a few times that I thought, okay, work on your returns right now. And I kind of start and I think, I can't. And I just make a bigger mess. And it wasn't until I thought, this is what you're doing now. This is what you can do, that it worked out. And it was fine. So yeah. Notice when things are getting worse and not better. And when you work and work on things and you've made a bigger mess and you've hardly started anything. And also notice how you feel. Because sometimes if you're just lost in thought and you're just thinking about something and things are, like it's actually calming in your brain, that might be more of an autopilot. That might be more of a, a calming thing that's actually working for you. And that might be good. But if you're finding that it's not calming, you're not in a groove, you're not getting things done, then you'll find that it's actually a sign of your executive dysfunction. Can't even think straight. Have you ever, like, what is your nemesis with organizing? Is it a closet? Is it paperwork? Paperwork's the worst for me. It's the worst. And whenever I try to make sense of it, and I do. I have a shredder. I have a system when stuff comes in the mail, but I still save more than I should, and I have to deal with it later. And when I do those things, uh, when I look around at my paper piles, I just see I haven't put them in organized little files or anything. It's just kind of a scattered mess. And then when I think of, if I could take a picture of my brain right now, what would it be? It's that same scattered mess. I haven't come up with a system unless I really sit down on the floor with my shredder and a trash can or something, like have the different options. When you have those options, when you have that system, it works better, even for doing dishes, because I don't want to do dishes unless I can deal with the things that can't go in the dishwasher too, like water bottles that can't, go on even on the top shelf, or I use the giant bowls for popcorn. I eat a lot of popcorn, and I have a system that works. And that's, putting a big towel. It could be a bathroom towel. It could just be a couple of dish towels or whatever. And having those already ready and every counter clean. And when that happens, I'm kind of calm. I'm like in my groove and I do that. And it's not a little bit of this and then going over here and a little bit of that. And you've been trying to load or unload the dishwasher for a half hour and it's still not done because you just made bigger messes. And those things can happen for sure. So I looked into this to see what experts, people who've studied ADHD, think about this kind of ADHD spiral or rut you get into or chaos or whatever it is that you're feeling like I'm not I'm not making any progress here. In fact, it's going the other way. I'm I'm just in my own head and it's not helping. And and the experts call it an ADHD autopilot and they say it's different than a neurotypical person who doesn't have neurodiversion, which there are different ways, but ADHD is one. And so when you have an autopilot, I've always thought autopilot must mean like when you're getting in your car and you can think of everything without thinking of everything. You get in the car and you know how to unlock it without thinking about it. You know how to get in, find your seat belt, turn the car on, turn the lights on, or whatever it is you're going to do. Plug in your charger, you have your little things when it's not your usual, like you're renting a car or somebody else has been driving your car, you might have to think about a few things like, "Oh, I should take care of the rear view mirrors," or "I should adjust the seat," or whatever it is. So those things you're having to actually consciously think about it and do that process. But I think of autopilot more of you doing the things that you've done, you're in a groove, and you don't have to think about it much, and it's really calming for your brain because 'cause you're just like, "Yep, yep, yep." Anything that takes away from that, that's causing you to not just go in and have that be simple is is requiring more thought, is taking more brain power. But with ADHD, what is happening is because of your ADHD executive dysfunction, your brain is trying to work and get things done. And you have your own thoughts that might be coming up. You have your own impulses. You have your ideas. You have a different function of your brain. And you may not be remembering something that you're going to do. And so you switch gears, you get distracted easily, all of that. And there are different autopilot patterns that can stop you from they're like a loop or something that can stop you from getting things done. One is a perfectionism loop of trying to do something. I do this a lot when I go on to Canva or on the computer or go to do things on my website. It's kind of embarrassing actually. But if you've been listening to me for a while, I used to have a blue website. Everything was this light blue. And then I decided to completely change it to pink. For about a month, I worked on that, and it just became an obsession. It was when I switched medications actually for ADHD. And I told when I went off of that medicine, I felt like myself again. I told the psychiatrist, I all I wanted to do is change that website. So that was my perfectionism of this will be better, this will be better, this will be better. And then I switched website hosts and had to do it all over again, which has taken me a lot of this past year. And then I bought a Black Friday special. I'm changing it to green. Yeah, I am. Okay. So there's my truth on this, my full-fledged um, disclosure, but it's a perfectionism thing. It's in my mind. I think this will be better if I do this. This will be better if I do this. And it's not stopping me from doing it at all. I mean, there are things that I think if I can't do it this way, I shouldn't do it at all. But I mean, I do this with the podcast all the time. Come on here and make the podcast. Well, you haven't brushed your hair. You haven't. I mean, clearly I don't get dressed up that much. But go put on some makeup, change your shirt, go check things out, see if the sound is, test the sound 5,000 times. And unless I can do it in a way that fits a standard, that loop in my brain, that's my brain telling me, "You can't do it, you can't do it, you can't do it." And with the Canva or the design or something, I do it, I look at it, "No, no, let's do this. Oh, no, let's do this." And it stops me from being productive. And you might see some areas of your life where that happens, where you think, "This will be better if I do this. This will be better. It's not good enough, it's not good enough," and then you keep working on it. Another is, before I do this, I have to do all these other things too. So you might start working on something and think, yeah, I want to clean that closet. Then I need to get new boxes. And then you go onto a website and you start looking at boxes or baskets or things like that. And so instead of making some improvement that you could get done in that half hour, or that hour, you don't do it at all because your brain has taken you into new ideas. It is easier sometimes to just keep thinking of new ideas and not deal with the here and now, not deal with what you have in front of you. And another thing is just getting yourself giving yourself a distraction. It's an escape from being productive. So it can even show up as a hyper focus, which sometimes we think, or often we think of, hyper focusing can be a good thing, and it can. It can be a good thing. It can help you reorganize your books on your shelves 500 times in the past year. It can make it so you look and go, "Yeah, that's really pretty with those books there. Glad I moved them." But sometimes it does help you get rid of things, like, "I'm gonna purge, I'm gonna declutter," and that can be really good. It can take a lot of time, but it can also be doing something that doesn't matter, that isn't really the priority in your life, to avoid what you really need to do, or to avoid what you need to do, whether it's a production thing, like a productive thing, or just dealing with a relationship, or writing to somebody, answering a text, or giving that time for that, giving a phone call to somebody, sending a video, however you communicate with people, showing up at their doorstep, any of those things. Sometimes we do we escape by getting into a hyper focus. And that might be easy to see with a computer, is to go onto your computer and just check your email, because that's what you need to do in the morning. But instead of doing what really needs to be done next, you go into this escape of, "Oh, there's a sale," and then just do a lot of online shopping. And maybe you don't need to. Maybe it's not something you even need, you even want when it comes in the mail, or even remember that you ordered it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then there's also just the things that go through your brains, your brain of, it can be an autopilot brain loop of replaying something that happened that you wish you'd done different, that you wish had gone better, or just thinking about the future. It could even be tomorrow or tonight, and putting a lot of pressure on yourself for it to be a certain way. So it could be like an emotional, it can take you through emotions, whether it was in the past or the future, and that's not being in the present in your mind. Like, that's not a mindfulness, that's a loop, a loop. And yeah, overcommitting can get you into that loop. If you try to please somebody, you say something, you wish you hadn't have said it, you wish you hadn't agreed to do something, and then you use a lot of emotional bandwidth or energy for that situation. So anytime you see some of these autopilot brain patterns happening, let yourself notice it and see what you can do to remedy it, even if it's just shutting it down for a little while and dealing with it later. When you have a little more time, when you really, when that might be a more helpful time. When I teach a yoga class, I often guide people, especially during Shavasana, because that's when we're all quiet at the end, and you have thoughts come up. But it can happen any time during a yoga class. I like taking yoga classes because I did yoga at home on videos with videos in the old VHS and DVD days for probably 10 years before I ever went into a class. And when I went into a class, I noticed other thoughts came up that weren't there. Like, I'm aware of this person. They're a little too close. Am I too close for them? Is my shoe bothering them? Oh, my shoes weren't by the mat, but my foot bothering them. My this, my that. And, or if I'm doing a pose and I turn that way, I see those people and start thinking about them. And I really had to learn to set my gaze somewhere that wasn't on a person, that was more inanimate. It could be a spot on the wall, the floor, whatever, so that it didn't provoke new thoughts. It actually helped me let go, helped me relax. And anytime that I noticed what was going on in my brain, that was powerful because I could sense, is it helping me right now? Is it getting me away from enjoying myself and relaxing? Yeah, it is. Is it getting me in the way of me noticing what the teacher's teaching me and maybe that's helping me in a post? Maybe. Yeah, yeah. So you recognize sometimes just when you're spiraling. You recognize sometimes when you're stressed or feeling anxious. You recognize when you're feeling scattered. And that can be an early sign of, wait a minute, I'm just going in all directions here and not really with any clear path or any method to the madness. It's not helpful. Or I'm focusing on this thing right now. Do I need to be doing it? Do I need to be putting a new picture up on the wall right now? No, I don't. Whatever it is that sometimes I can get into a loop and think, I'm doing this because it's a distraction. And yeah, it's fun. And it's not like it's bad to do fun things, but at the end of the day, and not like it's a phrase, at the end of the day, it's more like by the end of the day, do you find like, oh, I didn't get that done. I missed a deadline. I have somebody who's wishing I'd gotten back to him and I haven't, and all that kind of thing. So noticing what's happening in your body, noticing your surroundings, what you're creating. If it looks chaotic, that might be an indication of what's going on in your brain. And noticing emotionally, if you just feel off, you just feel more tense or more confused. Or for me, I describe it a lot of times as my brain being maxed out and or just feeling not as motivated, not as happy, not as calm. You feel really overwhelmed and you feel less patient with people. You're avoiding things. You're not in your routine anymore. You're staying up later. That a lot of this can happen when you're planning to go to bed at 10:30 and it's 12:30 and you're thinking, "Oh no, I need to get up at this time. I need to stop doing, I need to stop scrolling." Yeah, there are a lot of these things. One really quick trick that I've just learned this past year or 2 with yoga, and now that I've done it purposefully, it happens a lot in my body, and it just happened right now, so it was a reminder. But that sound, that breathing pattern that you do naturally when you cry, especially as a child, when you cried like a big cry, and at the end, you do that breathe in twice really fast, in, out. You just do, it's like a quick, and then a slow, a quick, and a slow. And it just naturally happens when you're crying. If you do it purposely right now, do that quick inhale and that slow exhale, that it is just as calming in your brain and your body, your being, as if you did it when you're crying. And you don't have to, it's not like I'm saying uh, crying relieves other things for sure, but it is a great way to relieve stress and just kind of get a little reset. You can do it more than once if you want. But since I started doing it purposely, I do it naturally now when I'm not crying, like right now. I was just thinking, okay, you're coming toward the end of your podcast. I don't even know how long I've been talking. And I do need to leave for a class in 20 minutes to teach a class. And if you're not watching on YouTube, if you haven't seen, I'm wearing pajama pants. I put them on after my hot yoga class today. I thought I'm not putting on leggings until tonight. And it's really comfortable. But there are a few things I need to do. So in that moment, I was feeling like, oh, yeah. And sometimes just talking about things brings up those same emotions of what I've experienced as I try to describe them to you. And so, yeah, that quick, slow, or even just a slower breathing, or noticing your neck getting tighter and coming up toward your ears, toward your face, and it's all coming in. Letting that go. Just letting it feel lighter, like you're literally letting go of weight. There's a weight of the world on your shoulders and you're letting it go. You're just, you can sigh your relief or however you want to do it. But yeah, noticing those things can help you when you get into this rut, this spiral, this autopilot that's not a helpful autopilot. It's just a spiral. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Getting other little things like a drink of water, walking around. I've mentioned before, looking in the mirror and smiling at yourself. Even just smiling without that, it does help a little bit. Stepping outside, dancing, singing, any of those things. Oh, I want to talk about in the next episode how this ADHD autopilot kind of becomes um, it might feel like you're in a survival mode to get away from the hard thinking and the executive dysfunction. And it is. It's giving you a break, but the more you do it, you might tense up because it is a spiral. Does that make sense? So just like the distraction from what you really need to focus on is nice. That might be why you go from thing to thing to thing, because you're not having to focus as much. So you think, I can't really get myself to be here. So I'm going to go over here. And it might be a survival mode thing, but at some point it's counterproductive even in your own emotional self, for your emotional well-being. And so just kind of noticing what's going on. But I want to talk more about what experts have said, and I'm sure I'll think of examples that hopefully will help you. But how it's not a calm survival mode. It might be if you're hyper focusing on something like that. I guess I could beg to differ with that. If I go and get to arrange books for 2 hours, it is really calming. But often I make a bigger mess when I'm doing things like that. But yeah, I wanna get into more of how our brains work and how when how I can't think anymore. And how it's different for us than people who don't have executive dysfunction. Alrighty, alrighty. I think that's gonna be it for now. Um, where am I here? Saying hello to my little I'm looking at myself closer on YouTube. If you're watching, I think the camera's going a little bit more to one side, just a little sharing time. There's a book up there that my mom made that has stories from her life, and there's a picture of my mom and dad. I don't know if they were dating or just married. It's black and white, but it's on the cover. It's up there. That's my little sharing for today. There's more I could say. You know how it is. If you love to share, I could take you down memory lane with all the things I see. Some of them aren't memory lane, like my wool blankets. That's just for sound absorption, and I love my wool yoga blankets, but I decided to try that there. But yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for being patient with me as I shift here and there and everywhere. And I've seen a few of you have come to my website. I don't know if my things are set up right there, but I'm still working on it because I would love to be in touch with you and I want to help you and have you help me. It helps me to help others, but accountability is my number one way of doing better in my life with ADHD. So the more we're in touch and we can check in with each other and see how we're doing, and maybe even do an accountability group or challenge in January. I know it's almost January, but I would love to do that. I did that last year with decluttering. I'd like to do it with time management and not being late starting in January. So that's my idea. If you have a better idea, let me know what your biggest challenge is with ADHD and what you would like accountability with, where you just write and let me know how you're doing. That's it for now. Thank you. Thank you. I will be back again.